This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
Hello, I'm America. Welcome to our show today. It's Tuesday, August 4th, 2020, getting into the week here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and as usual, I'm going to talk about news until I run out of news. Then we're going to open up the phone lines for your comments, questions, opinions, observations, and so forth. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials, keeping us out of trouble, and when we open up the lines, he'll be the one answering the phones and putting you on the air to basically vent and rant and rave and whatever else is going on. Okay, a couple of big things going on. There was a huge explosion over Beirut, and a lot of videos were shot of it. Huge shockwave went up, and at first everybody said, oh, it's a nuclear bomb, it's Israel attacking. But the latest word coming out of the Lebanese government is that it was a fireworks warehouse that caught fire and just all went up, and it was really quite spectacular. So, it got the world's attention, but at this point, it was an industrial accident, I guess is a good way to describe it. Now, yesterday we were talking about the return of SpaceX Dragon Crew capsule here, and apparently there was a little bit of symbolism that went along with it, because apparently when they came back to Earth over the weekend, they carried an American flag. Now, the flag is rather significant because the flag was first sent into orbit on the inaugural space shuttle mission STS-1. It was then left on the ISS by the crew of NASA's final space shuttle flight in 2011, STS-135, of which Hurley was a member. Now, the idea was that the next astronauts to launch on an American spacecraft from U.S. soil would return the flag to Earth, which they have now done, and my guess is it's either going to be on display at NASA or probably more appropriately would be at the Smithsonian. All righty, let's get into COVID-19. Somebody just sent me an article, which I linked to whatreallyhappened.com, reminding us all of that scene in the movie V for Vendetta, where V breaks into the emergency broadcast channel and sends a message to everybody saying, you know, that you have surrendered your freedoms out of fear of a virus. And say there seem to be a lot of parallels between what was going on in V for Vendetta and what's going on now. We got terrorism, we got riots in the street, we've got this virus that's scaring everybody into surrendering their freedoms. And it is almost eerie the way that art can imitate life sometimes. So we put that up there on the What Really Happened website if you want to take a look at that particular clip here. But there's an article that came on out from LouRockwell.com. The coronavirus response is pure state terrorism based on propaganda. And so they're asking, who are the real terrorists today? Though they are those who seek to gain total power and control over all of us, and they're called the state. Politically speaking, the use of terrorism is a mighty weapon because it instills much fear into the hearts of man, and fear can drive the masses into panic and hiding, leaving the door open to tyranny. And yes, that does seem to be a lot of what's going on around here. I don't know if panic is necessarily the best word out there. I mean, boredom comes to mind. I don't know about you. I'm sick and tired of all of this. I'm tired of hearing about COVID-19. I'm tired of hearing about masks. I'm tired, it really is getting boring. I want something new and unique to happen. Doing the show is actually getting very difficult because it's the same stuff day after day after day after day. COVID-19, 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 riot, 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 Portland, Portland, Portland. You almost want something new to happen, which is why I guess everybody seized on that explosion in Beirut. Oh, it's something new. It's something exciting. Oh, it's just a fireworks store, the fireworks warehouse that went up. So anyway, now Donald Trump did an interview on HBO with Jonathan Swan and did not come across very well. In fact, Piers Morgan was commenting on it. In fact, he called it a train wreck and basically said that Trump came across as not really knowing what's going on with coronavirus, that Jonathan Swan was not trying to ambush him or anything like that. But this is a moment which defines Donald Trump as really not being in control of either the coronavirus or even really knowing as much about it as he should. And you have to understand, going into this interview, he had to know that this was going to be the subject under discussion. And somehow he failed to do his homework. He failed to do his due diligence. He got caught off guard. He was trying to get out there and put the most positive spin he could on the coronavirus. And Jonathan Swan basically came back and said, no, looking at the numbers, looking at your own chart, we're not doing very well here. And Trump was out there trying to say, no, if you count it this other way, then we're looking very, very good. And basically, Swan was in control of the interview, which is nominally how it's supposed to work, but you expect the president to sort of have control over his half of the interview, and Trump clearly did not. So I expect we're going to start seeing clips from this in the Biden campaign commercials here. Okay, now, there's a gentleman, Professor Risch. He's professor of epidemiology and the director of Yale's Molecular Cancer Epidemiological Laboratory. And he is out there saying that Dr. Fauci is running a misinformation campaign against hydroxychloroquine. And we have been seeing this now for months, where you've got one team saying, yes, this is going to work. It's anti-malarial. It's proven. It's been used for years and years and years. And then you have the other side saying, no, it's harmful. It's going to destroy you. You can't go with that. You have to wait for us to come up with something new and patented and, with a huge markup. And speaking of huge markup, when Claire comes on the show on Friday, she's got a horror story to share with you about pharmaceutical costs in this country. And so Risch is basically out there saying Fauci is perpetrating a misinformation campaign in his opposition to hydroxychloroquine. And I mean, there's no question that quinine and its various forms are effective against malaria. And they're saying that seems to be the mechanism by which it's also effective against COVID-19. All right, over at Twitter, they have censored PragerU for supporting the group America's Frontline Doctors. And the medical deep state, or the medical industrial complex, whatever you want to call them, really does not want people watching anything that promotes hydroxychloroquine or calls into question the orthodox profit-driven approach to COVID-19. And apparently Twitter recently suspended PragerU simply for tweeting a clip of some of its doctors talking about hydroxychloroquine. Remember what we said yesterday? The fastest way to bring down a dictatorship is to force them to act like one where everybody can see it. And we're seeing it. It's right there in front of us with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, all of these, so-called corporate social media. They're the face of the dictatorship now, trying to control everything that we see, hear, or read. Kind of reminds me of the old Outer Limits, we will be in control of all that you see and hear. Well, not this guy. Not this person over here, not for sure here. All righty. Apparently, Zachary Trudeau is an artificial intelligence software developer. He works for Google. And apparently he was arrested in Portland the other day after allegedly committing numerous crimes at a Black Lives Matter riot. Trudeau is now being held at the Multnomah County Detention Center on charges of assault, resisting arrest, interfering with a peace officer, and trying to escape. He's an outspoken supporter of Bernie Sanders and a self-described Marxist who, prior to his arrest, used social media to call for Portland to be burned to the ground. Boy, Google sure isn't the place that we all thought it was based on that movie, The Internship. Anyway, or The Interns. I'm not talking about the Robert De Niro one, The Internship. I'm talking about the other one. I mean, that movie made Google look like it was a fun place to work. I was ready to send them a resume. Now I'm finding out what they're really like. No thanks. Not interested here. Anyway, before being booked, Trudeau had indicated online that he couldn't be more proud of all the violence and chaos happening in Portland. He also wrote that protesters are taking real action against the system, which makes him happy. Oh, my goodness. Now, I note that Google hasn't said anything about this guy. They certainly haven't fired him, which, if he were working for me, he wouldn't be working for me anymore. Trump is still getting ready to take on TikTok. They're talking about Microsoft buying them out before the middle of September. And Trump wants to go up against other Chinese software companies in the coming days. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has vowed that President Trump will take action in the coming days to deal with the Chinese software companies that the White House claims are feeding data to Beijing. Because if you're going to feed data, you feed it to the U.S. government. That's their job. Anyway, appearing on Fox News Sunday morning feature show, Pompeo claimed the practices of the Chinese tech companies currently in the administration sites include TikTok and WeChat pose true privacy issues to the American people. Okay, this sounds like more gratuitous China bashing to me. And let's be very honest, when you go online, you don't really have an expectation of privacy unless you're doing your own encryption. Okay, you're not private on the internet. There is no privacy out there. It's standing out there, you know, in the center of the town square and doing and saying whatever it is that you're doing and saying. That's just the reality of the internet. Anyway, for a long time, the U.S. just said, well, goodness, if you're having fun with it or if a company can make money off of it, we're going to permit that to happen, he explained, adding this approach will soon be changing. President Trump has said enough and we're going to fix it, and he'll take action in the coming days with respect to a broad array of national security risks. This strikes me as trying to look like you're doing something about a problem without really addressing the problem. Because again, if you start out with the awareness that you don't have any privacy on the internet anyway, then who really cares? You know, you shouldn't be putting your private stuff out there on the internet anyway. And if you are, you're an idiot. Anyway, Trump has given TikTok 45 days to negotiate sale of its U.S. arm to Microsoft after his total ban threat, and tells Seattle's tech giant CEO he will only allow purchase if the app totally splits from China. Well, I don't know. This looks to me more like a business acquisition than a security threat. TikTok is very, very popular. Well, by golly, we've got to have that. That's what it looks. It's a forcible acquisition, to use the business term for it, or a hostile takeover of the business. Anyway, Microsoft has added $95 billion to its valuation, fueled by the talk about acquiring TikTok. And apparently the tech firm has been given a September 15th firm deadline to buy the U.S. arm of the Chinese application. Okay. Now, I went over and I took a quick look at TikTok, and it's basically a short form video sharing service. It's kind of like YouTube for people who are very impatient. And, you know, there's some interesting stuff on there, but mostly it's vanity run amok. And I'm certainly not planning on using the system myself. How it's going to be monetized, we don't know. And as far as information being sent to China, I couldn't really see anything there that was all that useful to anybody. It's pure entertainment. It's people doing dumb things just so they can get their videos up there and get a higher view count than anybody else. And apparently there have already been some bad accidents, people doing stunts for TikTok and, you know, getting hurt here. So let's talk about the upcoming election. We're less than 100 days away from the general election, and things are really, really heating up. Somebody went on out and did a quick head count, and they're finding Trump signs are everywhere, on front lawns, doors, windows, whatever. And signs for Biden rather, are nowhere to be found. And the difference is really quite obvious. Now, as we reported yesterday, the polls have now shifted in favor of Trump. He's ahead overall. He's ahead in the battleground states. And it seems like nobody loves Joe Biden anymore, except, of course, for the Communist Party. On the website for the Revolutionary Communist Party USA, leader Bob Avakian, Avakian, wrote a lengthy letter to his followers urging them to vote for Democrat Joe Biden, claiming it is an urgent need to drive out the fascist Trump-Pence regime. So the communists are definitely in favor of Joe Biden. All right. Apparently in his latest speech, Democrats got another chance to see why Biden is hiding out in his basement so much. He mixed up the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution into a blender, and it came out totally incomprehensible. And Democrats are starting to get very, very worried. Former press secretary for Bill Clinton is out there saying, whatever you do, don't debate Donald Trump. And that's, for Biden, very, very good advice. Unfortunately, it's going to work against him. People aren't going to want to vote for somebody who can't stand up to the current president. We're looking for an improvement. We're looking for something that's better than Trump. And everything Biden shows is that he would be a step downward. Now, I'm not thrilled with Trump. He's been a terrible disappointment. Back in 2016, we all worked very, very hard to keep Hillary Clinton out of that White House. And we were hoping that Donald Trump was going to go on in there and drain the swamp. And instead, it seems like the swamp won. That being said, I don't want Biden in there because, well, he's incompetent. And he'll simply be used by the machine to push for agendas that even Biden may not agree with. But he'll just go along because he just wants the job title. Rubio has unloaded on potential Biden VP pick Karen Bass, describing her as the highest-ranking Castro sympathizer in the history of the United States government. Who cares? Castro is dead. Okay? And talk about holding a grudge. How long ago was the Castro Revolution? And still our deep state can't let go of it. Oh, those gosh darn Cubans. We want our casinos back. We want the donkey shows back. Anyway, Trump is still out there saying that there could be serious problems with vote by mail. He says absentee ballots are a good thing, and they are. But he says having the entire election vote by mail, there's going to be problems. In fact, there's a big stink over in New York. Apparently, they used vote by mail for their primary. They still haven't counted all the ballots. And there was a court decision came down today. Apparently, there was some vote by mail ballots that had postmark problems, which was a polite way of saying they were mailed past the end of the deadline. And some judge said, well, they have to be counted as well. It's a mess. It is a huge, huge mess. And the more complex they make the election system, the easier it is to jury rig it. I mean, for all we know, all of those ballots that missed the original deadline were thrown in there at the last minute to shift the outcome of the election. That mail-in deadline should be firm and it should be enforced, not have some judge say, well, yeah, all right, so these ballots showed up long after the fact. Let's go ahead and count them anyway. We don't know where those ballots came from. There's no voter ID. There's no way of tracking these votes back to the original voter. It's wide open for fraud. Trump is certainly correct on that. And he had his chance to do something about it, and he didn't. He failed. He dropped the ball. And it may cost him in November. And if it does, well, we can all laugh at him, say, you're fired, Mr. Apprentice. You had a chance to fix the system, and you didn't. I'm very, very disappointed in him. So Trump is out there saying the election results could be delayed by months, certainly based on the example from New York. That's certainly true here. All righty, let's talk about the economic news here. Pizza Express is going to close 67 restaurants across Britain. 1,100 jobs are going to be let go. And this was hours after the launch of Rishi's Eat Out to Help Out scheme. Dixon's has announced 800 redundancies. People will be fired from restaurants all over the place. Okay. Pizza Express is 55 years old. They're owned by Chinese private equity firm Honey Capital. They have debts of 735 million pounds, and they've put itself up for sale after bringing in experts. Gold consolidates near an all-time record high of $1,988 per ounce. That's pretty good. And according to this article out of Investment Watch blog, it could hit $3,500 an ounce or higher. Well, remember, it's not the gold is going up. It's all these fiat paper currencies are going down because of all this overprinting and all this stimulus and all, it's really all starting to come apart. When you don't have a value-based currency, people can play games with the economy rather than actually fix what's fundamentally wrong with the system. Anyway. Sundar, I hope I pronounced this correctly, Pichai, says Google will enforce every corrupt, twisted opinion of the CDC, a vaccine-pushing propaganda arm for Big Pharma. And that's something people need to remember. We're back on the COVID-19 talking points. CDC is not an arm of the government. It is a private, for-profit corporation, and it owns the patents on pretty much every vaccine they're recommending you shove into your kid's arm. So they have this image of being, working for the health of the general public, but they're out there to make money like everybody else. And every year, there's always more vaccines that get put onto that mandatory list. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be back after these two words.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did.
Welcome back to our show here, and a reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network, and for that matter, WhatReallyHappened.com, are in the middle of a perpetual fundraising campaign. We don't have any angels out there shoveling huge amounts of money at us because generally they want us to promote certain ideas that we may not agree with, and we prefer our freedom over being pampered like that. So we rely on our small bits of advertising revenue, and we rely very heavily on you, the listener, to keep us going, to keep us speaking truth to power. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. We're getting an update now on that Beirut explosion. They're saying that 50 people have been killed. And you have to wonder, on the assumption that Lebanon is being straight with us and that this was a fireworks warehouse that went up, why did you have it in the middle of the city? Why not have things like that way out in the countryside where if they go off, nobody gets hurt except for the people working there? I remember seeing a documentary about a fireworks company here in the United States where they've got a huge piece of land way out in the boonies, nobody's around them, and all of the little workshops are widely separated, and the roofs on these buildings are not fastened in place. They're just set there. So if something goes off inside, the roof will fly off, but it doesn't contain and tamp the explosion. So they're thinking safety first. But looking at this video, I mean, I understand there was a huge amount of ammonium nitrate that was stored on the premises here. 50 dead, a lot of destruction in the area. And that's just poor planning when you have something like that right in the middle of a residential area or right in the middle of a city. Of course, it's not like the United States hasn't done things like that. There was, I remember a story from the early days of the alcohol industry where there was a distillery in the middle of, I think, if memory serves, New York City. And the alcohol vapors just built up inside this distillery until that building blew up, causing a huge amount of damage. Anyway, getting on back to COVID-19, just to show you how silly this whole compliance thing is getting, Virginia officials are demanding students get vaccinations before they participate in online learning from home. Now, you think about that for a minute. They're saying you cannot get on your computer and do online school unless you have the vaccination. Okay? For virtual learning, if parents do not comply and do not show proof their kid got the injection, then their kids will not be allowed to access the online learning materials. This is a threat. It's also a lie. It's an empty threat because children belong to the parents, not to the state, or at least for the time being here. Now, getting into the realm of political correctness and just how bizarre things are these days, Chicago area leaders are urging the Illinois State Board of Education on Sunday to halt history classes in school, because the emphasis seems to be on a lot of white people, like, you know, that white guy, Henry Ford, inventing the assembly line here, and that white guy, Thomas Edison, reinventing the electric light bulb, and those two white boys, the Wright brothers, reinventing the airplane. And, you know, they want an alternative history that says that this black man did this and this Asian man did that. And there's a lot of people out there, you know, of different ethnic groups who've done a lot of things, and they should be brought into the history. But to simply say, halt the history classes, right out of Orwell. And speaking out of Orwell, I'm not kidding you. There's a video out there and an article that came out of, well, it's a YouTube video where woke leftists are starting to say that 2 + 2 does equal 5. This is right out of 1984. Saying that 2 + 2 = 4 is a cultural conditioning and it doesn't represent anything real. I mean, this is just insane. This is absolutely insane. Columbia University is going to hold a 5-week deconstructing whiteness lecture series for white students so they can deconstruct their own whiteness. An attack on Europeans who, first of all, did come to this continent and pretty much build it up. And I don't mean to take away from the Native Americans who integrated with nature and, you know, had a good culture here. And they built, you know, especially down in Central and South America, Chichen Itza and Tiahuanaco and all those various works there. But, you know, this is what happened in South Africa and Zimbabwe, where you had indigenous populations who weren't natural builders and didn't build up the civilization. They saw the civilization being built up around them. And they said, well, we're just going to take it over. And that's exactly what's happening here. And we do need to pay attention to that. Meanwhile, Holocaust survivors are urging Facebook to remove all posts questioning the official story of the Holocaust. And apparently they're targeting Mark Zuckerberg, urging him to take action to remove denial of the Nazi genocide from the social media site. Nobody is denying bad things happened under the Nazis. What we seek is clarification and accuracy, because we know that everybody lies about history to suit their own particular agenda. Okay, we got to take another break. Commercial. We'll be right back.
tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new EaseOff Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The EaseOff lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the EaseOff? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my EaseOff?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. EaseOff LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. John Hess, 5 out of 5 stars. Awesome. Probably my only review, but at age 40, I was getting bad heartthrob and left arm pain, mainly before bed. I even stopped smoking and drinking sodas for a month, and that didn't work. After 1 day of taking Extendovite, it was gone and hasn't returned in 3 years. I've ordered Extendovite 13 times, so Amazon just said. Juliet Hordick. I've ordered this product before in liquid form. It is fantastic. My whole family's been on it. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show here. And looking at the mailbox here, I've got an email regarding TikTok. I don't know exactly how this app monetizes itself, but their spokesman in India had said in Supreme Court that the company was earning more than $500,000 per day from India alone. Also, the uploaders used to monetize their videos similar to YouTube, so uploaders used to try and get as many followers as possible, a numbers game, and they used to get paid more than a normal job. Hence, the most popular videos were dance videos, mostly by girls. At least one user has committed suicide after the ban on this app in India because she lost all of her followers and maybe also the revenue stream. I remember reading an article not too long ago about where TikTok was being sued by a gentleman who said the scantily clad girls were causing him to, how should I put this delicately, injure himself. I guess that's probably as good a way as any to put that. Getting on back to more serious things here. Apparently, police have arrested a former Democrat volunteer, Matthew Egler, for torching the Democratic Party headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona. Local Democrats blamed the arson on Republicans before the arrest of the disgruntled Democrat Party volunteer. Oh, my. Oh, the Republicans did it. The Republicans. No, it was a Democrat. What can I tell you here? All right, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines now. So if you want to call on in, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. Now, the SpaceX success notwithstanding, NASA's still having some glitches. Apparently, after Perseverance was launched, there was a brief communication outage just 2 hours after the launch. And it turned out that the signal coming back from Perseverance was so strong, being so close to Earth, that it literally overpowered the receivers at the Deep Space Network, and they had to basically dial back the attenuation on that. But they're saying it's all working fine. All signs point to good health, and I am really looking forward to see what happens when Perseverance get to Mars, because this one is definitely geared to look. Well, they keep saying we're looking for ancient life. Why not look for life now? Okay. Because we know from Viking back in 1976, there's something in that soil that metabolizes. I'd like to find out what it is. I'd like to find out what that crab-like thing was that Curiosity saw when it was rolling across the desert there. All righty. Transgenderism has a way of penalizing women, and it's not just from the entry of biological men into the realm of women's sports. Suddenly, women are being reduced to body parts. They're not being called women. Men aren't being called men. They're being called, women are being called individuals with a cervix. And to accommodate this small group of very loud people, we're all being reduced to spare parts. Okay, here's a good little story. Experts uncovered a giant woolly mammoth in Lake Pechanelava on the Yamai Peninsula. And this is in Siberia. And apparently it's so well preserved, it had pieces of soft tissue and skin attached to its bones. Well, there's going to be a good source for DNA for somebody who wants to bring back the woolly mammoth. And I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but sure, why not here? Now, a lot of people saw things like Jurassic Park and they say, well, we get the DNA, we can bring back the dinosaurs. I don't know why you'd want to, for reasons made clear in the movie and the book itself. The fact of the matter is that the Earth, as we know it today, the Earth that we are comfortable on because we evolved here, would not be very comfortable for reconstituted dinosaurs. Because when the dinosaurs were alive, there was a lot more oxygen in the atmosphere, a lot more carbon dioxide. The world was a lot warmer. It would be like taking human beings and dropping them onto the top of Everest without any protection or oxygen gear. And you have to understand that, you know, life evolves to be comfortable in the environment in which it finds itself. You know, it's not some magic that made Earth comfortable for human beings. Human beings evolved to be comfortable in Earth at this age. Dinosaurs evolved to be comfortable in the Earth of their age, and so forth and so on, going all the way back to the origin of life on this planet. Okay, everybody is all hot and bothered for space. Virgin Galactic recently revealed the interior of their space tourism spaceship that they're going to start using in the near future. And Virgin Galactic has now released the first concept images of its supersonic passenger jet. It's going to travel at speeds of Mach 3 at altitudes above 60,000 feet and carry 19 people at over 3 times the speed of sound. It can go from from New York to Paris in under 2 hours is what they're saying. All right, we're going to grab a phone call here. Kelly, Al in Canada. Hello, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hanging in there.
Perfect. You know, first off, I mean, I've been abusing myself for decades, and I've never hurt myself once. So I don't know what he's doing wrong.
he's definitely doing something wrong.
Oh, yeah. So Donald Trump has been really screwing up lately, saying kind of stupid things. Yeah, like 1,000 deaths, or 1,000 COVID deaths a day. He says it is what it is. That's not very president-like.
No.
Something about Ghislaine Maxwell. Her boyfriend died in jail, and he wishes her well. God. He can't be I don't think he's that stupid to think that people actually think that's okay to say stuff like that.
Maybe he really does want to be a one-term president. Now he's got to out Biden, and he's getting desperate.
I don't know if anybody can out Biden. Man, that guy is brutal.
Oh man,
He has no idea.
No, he's
Oh, yeah.
flaming out.
Oh yeah, the guy can't even bite his finger. I mean, I've heard my friends send me this stuff, right? You know, these little clips and whatnot on YouTube in my email, and I go out and I watch them, and that like some of the stuff is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, on both sides. Like Donald Trump will say something like by a factor of a lot. What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, my good God, if he's done it more than once.
Yes.
I don't understand. I really don't. I mean, this interview, I'm going to watch it later on, like the whole thing. I'm not just going to take anybody's word for it about what he's saying. That I'm actually going to watch the whole thing. And see what was really said, because I can pick this stuff off. I mean, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
And the hydroxychloroquine, that malaria drug. I mean, if all these doctors are saying that it works, it has to work.
Yes. Well,
why would they lie? For some people, maybe.
Well, the fact is, you have to look at the fact these doctors can't make any money off the hydroxychloroquine. It's a generic medicine. It's been around for a long time. It's not patentable. And they don't have the profit motive that you see from people who are out there saying, don't use hydroxychloroquine. Wait for us to come up with something new and hip and patentable.
Yeah, that's the giveaway right there. Wait. How am I supposed to wait? I'm sick now.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, that kind of blows their whole argument right out of the water. And like I mentioned this to a couple people at work, and they already knew what it was. Like, how do you know this? Well, because I read about it a couple months ago and I looked it up. Oh, I never expected to hear that. So, there are some people out there that really know what's going on. They just don't look, they don't mention it or talk about it. The silent majority, more or less, right?
Yes.
This is even up in Canada. And our government up here, the federal government, is as crooked as a dog's hind leg.
Yes.
So, and most people don't even talk about it. I don't even know why people. Well, I can't understand why people aren't marching up there, like demanding that this guy get the hell out of office. Just rushing everybody. I mean, I can't see these armed guards or anything shooting on 100,000 people, but no one will do it.
I think people just aren't listening anymore. I don't think it's a case of getting angry and wanting the guy kicked out of office. I think people are just tuning him out. It's like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm getting bored with all of this stuff. I want to hear something else now. I don't want to hear about COVID-19 and hydroxychloroquine and the rest of it. I mean, we've been hearing about it for months. The only exciting thing that's happened so far today is the hurricane and the building exploding in Beirut.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That'll be it for the week, right?
Yeah,
probably.
that's it.
We're running out of batteries. Oh my God. Before I go, I kind of live in the city, and I work out in the country in one direction, and I go out to the country in another direction. And you know what, Mike? They don't wear masks.
No.
At all.
No.
They're not scared. Like, why would I wear a mask? What for? Okay, well, because first thing I say, do you want me to put this on? Nah, don't worry about it. You've been here before, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's changed? Nothing. Okay. That's pretty much it. So,
yeah, we're all sick and tired of this stuff, and we all know that the masks don't really work anyway.
Yeah. Well, especially with Fauci there, who can't even, I mean, Jesus, that throw was pathetic. He was like 15 feet away, and that's how close he's been on everything he said. And now he wants people to wear goggles and a full face shield? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. That's ridiculous.
I'll bet he owns stock in the company that makes goggles and face shields.
Yeah, you'd almost think he has, like, a lot of these people have stock in this stuff. And these masks, Mike, I mean, they're like $1 a piece. They're not that much money. They're just, oh, jeez. When will people learn? When will they learn? I appreciate your time, Mike. I'm going to be listening. Hope to hear if, Peter, I like Peter when he calls in. I like hearing from him. Have a good one.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Kelly in Austin. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi there, Mike. I listen to a podcast every day, several times a day, produced by a fellow named Tim Pool. He's very good. And he's reporting today that DHS is investigating selected Antifa cells as terrorists trained in Syria. And apparently they've got video and photos of these American Antifa members in Syria undergoing their training. And so that's the first I've heard of that. And if so, things might not be looking up for Antifa. They might be actually labeled a terrorist organization after all.
I think they
And I
should
hope
be.
they are.
I agree. I think they should be.
Well, if you look at how they've acted in every place where they've been active, it certainly seems to be that you can make a strong case for their being terrorists. But I'd really like to see DHS get after these people. A lot of them need to be hauled in and before a court and probably spend some time in a prison cell somewhere.
I agree. Some of the more extreme Black Lives Matter people as well. I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
When you descend into rioting and violence, I'm sorry, you that's not free. That's not free speech. You know, trashing a window is not free speech.
No, and about BLM, apparently a bunch of BLMers up in Seattle that tried to invade the police chief's neighborhood to see her, and they were stopped outside the neighborhood by citizens armed.
Good.
Armed citizens, and they turned them around. They sent it back, and of course, the BLMers were whining about having had their First Amendment rights violated. And one apparently told one of the neighbors that he said, "Well, we're peaceful," and he said, "Yeah, you are now." When he's looking at that guy. Yeah, you are now.
Yeah, the First Amendment doesn't cover setting fire to trash cans.
Right. Anyway, you might want to look into that more about what the DHS is doing with respect to Antifa. I hope that they really are following up on this, and I think it would be something they really need to. They should have done this long ago, and I'm not sure why it's taken them this long. But apparently now they've got the evidence, all the evidence they need of Antifa members training in Syria. So that little house of cards could start coming apart pretty soon.
Well, you know, if they had video of me training in Syria, I'd already be in jail. Let's be honest about that.
Well, you would. I would too. Antifa, no. Okay, Mike, thanks much.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Sebastian in Sweden. Hello, Sebastian. Welcome back to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Mike, this explosion in Beirut, I heard on the Swedish radio news just before your program started, and they said that the shockwave was so tremendous that it broke out windows 3 kilometers away.
Yes.
And they were interviewing people that were in their house and, you know, in the hallway when the windows just, you know, I don't know how it does it. It implodes maybe. But anyway, and then I also heard on the same program that it was munitions. They had munitions there, so it was something more than fireworks. And I think, because I know Beirut has been through a lot, but since the 70s. And you can't... I think Israel could have something to do with it. The Mossad, you never know. It's possible because they're getting their forces ready down there, you know, and they want maybe they want a war soon before the election.
Yeah, I think so.
Israel.
Well, you know, it's not just our election. You know, Netanyahu's trying to seize control away from Benny Gantz, and he knows that if he can get a good war going, the Israeli people will stand with him because he's seen as a wartime leader.
Yeah. And then in the Swedish news, there was a 12-year-old that's last weekend that was shot by a drive-by shooting. She was out walking her dog. It's a big thing, you know, around Stockholm in a McDonald's. There, a brand new open McDonald's. And this policeman at the scene, he tweeted little girls' lives matter, and he got stink face from all the media because of that. Because you can't use that. There's only this Black Lives Matter. It's all over Europe now. I suppose you know that.
Yes.
Not only in England, but it's all over Europe. But anyway, that's all. Our prime minister won't even comment on it. There were reporters saying, "Do you have anything to say about the little girl that was shot by drive-by shooting?" And he doesn't want to comment on it because he knows that it's the people who came here 2015, 5 years ago, that's doing all this. They confiscated more weapons this year than any other in the previous years. Illegal weapons. Your listeners have to know that Sweden is like Chicago. You're not allowed to have weapons. You're allowed to own weapons unless you're a hunter, and you have to get a license for that and being in a hunting club. But it's really hard to get. But all the criminals have them. I mean, they have everything. They have AK-47s, hand grenades, everything. Hand grenades are like $50 a pop here in Sweden.
All right,
well,
Sebastian.
thank you very much, Mike. Take care of yourself.
All right, thanks a lot. We got to
care.
take a break for commercials, more phone calls after we come back.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the Red Pill.
Is the Second Amendment your line in the sand? Is the United States Constitution important to you? Are you worried about gun confiscation? You need to join us for free at gunconfiscation.com. At gunconfiscation.com, you will meet like-minded patriots, get the latest Second Amendment news, and find anything you need to prepare for gun confiscation. Visit gunconfiscation.com today. That's gunconfiscation.com. Which side are you on?
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go right back to the phones to Bobby in Florida. Hello, Bobby. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike.
I don't know where to go. That one guy, he took my wind away. I was gonna mention that too, about that comment that Trump made about giving that lady, wishing her well and all, and that's really crazy. I don't know why people can get outraged by that. I know I listened to Ryan Dawson. He had a real good program. I subscribed to him, and he was saying, well, he was that was some kind of code word for, like, I hope you burn. I don't know. What's this?
I think it's code word. Don't release the videos of me.
Yeah, that's where we're going. And then I hear the Amazon guy. He's black. He's backing up all this. Wow, what is the guy's name? Jeff Soros. Well, we'll call him Jeff Soros. He's backing the Black Matters, Lives Matters thing.
George Soros.
And I wouldn't doubt you're in this area. They're probably right there with ISIS. It's all been concocted and built by billionaires. You know,
Could very well be.
Yeah,
Somebody's
that's
paying
the
for it
problem.
all.
If we ever do tear this thing apart and put it back together again, which I hope, that's the thing. I think it's a good idea. No more billionaires. You get $50 million and that's it. I like to go, that Jeff guy, you know, just throw him up against the wall and go, look, we're taking all your money, we're putting it in infrastructure and everything else. You get $50 million. You don't like it, go live somewhere else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I better do like you say, just let him live like we do. He'll kill himself. Well, he comes from immigrants too. I heard Cuban immigrants, or he was adopted, or I don't know. But he's not, you know, he's not black. They'll burn his Amazon building down too. So like they're burning down everything else. The people that are sponsoring them they're burning down their place. So, you know, it gets back to I talked about it briefly with you, and I don't know, I don't get enough out of you. I don't ask about the school of the Frankfurt School. They were teaching how to, and it's all very Zionist and all. They were teaching back then, and it's a trick to turn one group of people on another group, one race on another group. That's a trick that's been used for thousands of years. And what do you know about the Frankfurt School? Can you give me some info? What I've learned about it was that this is like a game that they played, the communists played. Before they took over Russia, they were using that. And, I mean,
well,
that's what you learned too. You're aware of it.
There's all kinds of schools out there. I mean, there's obviously the School of the Americas here at in the United States, or what's nicknamed the School for Dictators. The Frankfurt School, if I recall correctly, was tied in with Operation Gladio about trying to maintain hegemonic domination of Europe in the post-World War II climate.
Right. Well, I heard it was like when they're aware of Hitler back then. They were building all this stuff. It was the communists that had already went into Russia.
Yeah.
And it was the same people Hitler was fighting, and Franco was fighting him too. Franco, they were trying to take over Spain. They were doing the same thing they're doing now. We're looking at, this is everything that's already happened. From what I've gathered, from what I've learned here recently. But anyway, I don't know. You know, I come up with a really good idea. Now, I don't know if you're like this or not, because, you know, Mike, you're like, you know, I'm a musician. I don't know how to compare. You're like the Led Zeppelin of like truth talk shows. You know, I mean, you're like, and your legacy will be that video.
Okay, Bobby, stay on the line. We got to take a break for station identification. I'm going to come right back to you after these few words.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. foreclosure. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, and we're talking with Bobby in Florida. And Bobby, if you could just sort of pick up where you left off.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I was going to tell you, I knew about the School of Americas back in the 80s, and that's all the Central American stuff that went on down there that people really don't know about. That's a good thing to look into, and there are some videos left on that. Anyway,
Yes.
I just wanted to make a good suggestion. I don't know how you're going to like this or not, but I really love Tom down in Miami. Some other people do. Maybe next time when you go on vacation, you can have him do your show. I think that would be really cool. I don't know how he would react to people calling him. Maybe he would calm down a little bit, Maybe he would have, if he had his own platform, it might help. He's really good. I don't agree with him on everything. Like he says, hey, the Vikings, they were cool. Well, yeah, but they raped and looted for 500 years, and they finally got tired, and they figure, hey, we're raping our own cousins.
Name a conquering army that hasn't.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Nobody, we're all guilty, So, but yeah, I love the guy, man, and I'm just putting it out there. Maybe we can all do a drive. Maybe I wish I could put $100 up there, get him on there. But I'm kind of strapped right now. But I am going to donate. I have before a little bit, but yeah. I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, everyone likes listening to him, and I don't agree with everything he said. I don't agree with everything. A few things he didn't like, Pizzagate or chemtrails or whatever, but we won't go there.
No.
But anyway, I thought I'd put that out there for you. And like I was telling you, Mike, your legacy will be that all wars are Vanker wars. I still share that with people. I did today, and people watch that, and I thank you, man. They should have launched that up into space with Chuck Berry's record, Johnny Be Good. Because that's. You are a national treasure. I want to tell you that. I feel that. If they ever build a statue of you, I will protect it. I'll be the first one.
And pigeons around the world will rejoice.
All right, Mike, I'll let you go. Right. See you, buddy.
All right, Bobby. Thanks an awful lot for the phone call and for the kind words and everything like that. When they do a statue of me, please make it a lot thinner than I am right now because, make me look good. Anyway, let's go to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Mike? Mike, you were talking about that interview that Trump has out today, about
with Jonathan Swan, yeah.
Yeah. See, the problem with Trump is this. He's surrounded by all the worst kind of advisors, both on foreign policy, Pompeo and Kushner, and in domestic policy now with this so-called virus there with Fauci and Birx and all these other clowns, these quacks, And all he knows is the statistics that he's given, which are garbage, and he doesn't know how to dissemble the proper statistics on it. Because what happens is most of these so-called cases, these new cases, are not really cases at all. They're either maybe somebody's had a cold sometime in the last year or two. Maybe they've had the flu. Maybe they had the flu shot. Or maybe they have a very minor case of the virus that they had contact with, didn't even show any symptoms, or very mild symptoms, like the symptoms of a cold, which basically what the coronavirus is. So,
yes.
But Trump doesn't know this. The man is so ignorant. This is why we have problems with foreign policy, too, with Syria and all. Oh, by the way, talk about Syria. Those the people that this guy was talking about the Antifa was training with and working with there. Those are the Kurds, Syrian Kurds, which are also communists. So that's who they were actually operating with. It's hard for me to believe the Kurds would want fools like that with them anyway, but obviously they did have some experience there. So again, this also shows you that Antifa and BLM, which is really the same thing, are basically domestic terrorists that the deep state uses in the United States to stir up trouble, as they use Al-Qaeda and ISIS back in the places like Syria, Libya, and other places in the Middle East against the Syrian government, against the Iranians, and other people like that. So it's to stir up trouble, basically, even against the Russians for that matter. And of course, you got the Nazis in the Ukraine, the Nazi militias in the Ukraine that's supported by Soros. This probably be, pretty much the money man for a lot of this stuff. That's where a lot of the money is laundered and goes into it doesn't look like it's actually coming from the U.S. government. He's like the money distributor, So that's basically what. And Trump
is the bag man.
Yeah, he is. He's a bag man, exactly. He's a bag man for the New World Order, I would say, And Trump doesn't seem to understand this. He doesn't. He listens to the wrong people. He listens to a fool like Sean Hannity, who's nothing but a fool. That's all. He's a tool. Hannity is a tool for the absolute predatory capitalists, for the big tech companies, for the big banks, big pharma, especially big pharma.
Yeah.
And showed himself the other day too when he went on. When I saw something, it was on one of the YouTube. Might have been Ryan Dawson. I'm not even sure, but they showed Tucker Carlson signing off to give to Hannity on the Fox News station, or what I call the fake news station, and Tucker gave, who's about as close to being alternate independent media as you're going to find on the whole mainstream media, was talking about Bezos and a few other of these predators, and Hannity comes on and criticizes him for saying that, well, this is what capitalism is about. You shouldn't have any kind of limits on you, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But this is the kind of clown that Trump listens to Hannity. He's always giving interviews to Hannity. And Hannity is one of the biggest stooges for the entire corporate infrastructure, especially, like I said, big pharma.
Yeah.
That's all they have is pharmaceutical and commercial finance. The guy is not one that should be trusted. And I personally I've gotten to dislike him. I don't bother with his show anymore. Years ago, I used to watch it. I used to listen to it on the radio sometimes. I don't even bother now. The guy is a total tool, a tool of the establishment. That's all he is. And Trump listens to him way too much. He listens to all of our people. He should listen to Alex Jones. Now, I don't agree with everything about Alex Jones. I mean, I think he's too much with this China thing. Oh, the Chicons. I think he's too much into that. But the fact of the matter is, he still give you a lot of information about who these corporate slime balls really are. Okay? And he's not afraid that, he doesn't pull his punches. But instead, he listens to a fool like Hannity. Probably doesn't even listen very much to Tucker Carlson. And that's one of the problems. And it's the same thing with the coronavirus. He listens to all the wrong people. He should stop that. He should start listening to a guy like, what's his name, Bigtree. Listen to somebody like that. Listen to somebody like Del Bigtree. I don't even know if he knows who Bigtree even is. I don't think even knows his way very much around the internet other than tweet. I really don't think he knows much about where else he can go. Where he can go, whether YouTube, BitChute, shows like yours, a lot of different things. I don't think he knows. I think he's got the boomer problem. He just doesn't understand this new technology. I mean, I'm not going to brag. I'm not an expert like you are, but I know my way around it. And you got to do that if you really want to keep up with the real news, because you're not going to get it on a fake news network, the crap news network, or the more nothing but crap news network. You're not going to get any news there. You get any garbage. And that's it. I think that's Trump's main problem. He's just, I don't know what to say, stupid, but he's definitely ignorant. And that's it, Mike. Thanks.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, good day to you, Michael. Yeah, it was good hearing Sebastian call in, and to that guy Bobby. I just want to say, Mike Zeppelin, I think you should play that immigrant song for them guys. I think they'll like that song, the immigrant song. I think Sebastian and that Bobby will like that song if you played it, maybe today or tomorrow. You know, the immigrant song, Mike. It's a good song by Zepp. But anyway, what I want to talk about, Michael, is yesterday you had a caller and it called. You said something about you using a racist term, calling the pot calling the kettle black. Well,
yes,
the pot calling the kettle black was a Spanish saying back in the 1600s. That's actually out of Spanish for using that terminology. And the reason he went after you, Mike, about calling the kettle black is because he must have saw that, and there's only reason he must have said that because he saw it. That was in the movie Gone with the Wind. Matter of fact, I watched that movie the other day, Gone with the Wind, with Clark Gable.
Yes.
And that's when Vivian Lee's telling Red Butler, you're calling the pot. That's the pot calling the kettle black. It had to do with the Confederacy and the Union armies. And so I thought that was intriguing that guy said that to you yesterday about, well, Mike, that's a racial statement. No, it's not a racial statement. It's when two people are basically in the same, two peas in a pod. That's what it's basically meaning. Okay, so anyway, Mike, getting back now, what I really want to talk about is, and it's Candace Owens. I watched her interview. I don't have you had a chance to watch her interview, the most recent one?
No.
She made a great point, Mike. You know, these blacks are only 13% of the population. They have great federal government jobs. They have all these wonderful jobs here in the United States. But the white South Africans of South Africa that can't even get a job in their federal government in South Africa. But all these blacks are making $100,000 federal government jobs here in the county, solid waste, water, sewer, transit. These people got these fantastic jobs. And, so, what hypocritical nonsense. And they're the minority. When are these people that call your show going to realize they're the minority? They're not the majority. Black Lives Matter is a minority. Antifa is a minority. They're a bunch of little thugs. And that's what they are. Like I told you about Eisenhower, we put up this nonsense for a minute. And getting back to Mark, getting back to Mark here. I'm going to get back to Mark here. There's Mark talking about Hannity, Trump, and blah, blah, blah. Well, Trump's going to be on Lou Dobbs tonight. So I kind of like Lou Dobbs. So I think Trump's got a good guy there, and Lou Dobbs and a couple other guys, and Steve Hilton. But, Mike, so Mark knows Donald Trump, okay, today signed a bill, no more H-1B1 visas coming here where these people are taking jobs away from Americans. That should have never been allowed. Whoever did that, whatever president has been held for treason, allowing these people to take over these jobs in Disney World, Disneyland, bringing in people who don't even barely speak the language. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just like the illegal immigration invasion of our country. Mexifornia, Calaxifornia, whatever you want to call California anymore. I mean, Mark, let's get to the point, though. Donald Trump has done more than any president in your lifetime, Mark. So, Mark, yeah, you're talking about Donald Trump, Donald Trump, just like some other callers you got. But what is bumbling Biden going to do, Michael? Bumbling Biden will give up the whole farm. Okay? At least Trump is like saying, "Hey, man, I'm taking care of the national parks." Trump signed the most awesome national parks bill since Teddy Roosevelt today, or I think it was yesterday. So bashing Trump ain't going to do it, Mark. Bashing Trump every day, Hannity. Well, Hannity, yeah, he's an Irishman, and he's doing the best he can, I suppose. He's got he's got a heck of a talk radio show. I mean, I listen to it once in a while, not all the time. Maybe once a month I listen in on it. But you get a little information. And going back to Bobby, was Bobby talking about Amazon? Was he talking about Jeff Bezos, or was he talking about George Soros?
I'm not sure, but it may have been. I think in hindsight, it may have been Jeff Bezos.
Well, if it's Jeff Bezos, I'm going to let Bobby know. I met Jeff Bezos when he first started out with Amazon. He made it here in South Florida. That's where he made it. He was selling paperback books, and he had a travel truck, and that's how he made it. He made it right here on US 1, and that's how he started Amazon. He was going to bowling alleys and stuff, selling his paperback books. His real name is Jeff Jurgensen. He went to Palmetto Senior High School. Okay, I know all about him. Okay, and Jeff Bezos. Okay, yeah, he turned out to be a full-blown leftist, basically, but he's paying off Sandman and all those kids in that college. They're all going to get paid off by the Washington Compost. But Jeff Jurgensen, he abandoned his daddy because his daddy, I guess, abandoned him when he's a kid. He married a Cuban the mother married a Cuban guy named Bezos over here in Palmetto, over here in Pinecrest. It's like 15 miles from where I live. She married a Cuban man, and then they bought a house over close to the high school here, and that's where he was raised in this area. And I remember seeing him when he was a young guy. He had a green truck, and he was driving around. He had boxes of paperback books in his truck. And that's how Amazon started. Amazon. And his father, he lives in Phoenix, Arizona. He owns a bike shop, and Bezos never gave the father a plug nickel, I don't believe. I really don't know the whole story in that, but I believe his mother passed on. But, you know, Bezos' wife is getting what she made $5 million in 1 week, I think, the divorced wife. And he's got 3 sons. So, yeah, Bezos is a character. It's a shame that we don't have more guys are filthy rich that are Republicans like T-Bone Pickens or, you know, guys that actually are more to the right. They might have some of these ABCs, NBCs, or CBSs because they're all being controlled by left. And until we get that straightened out, we're going to still hear this false narrative, the fake news, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, Mike, I'm glad Sebastian called in. Sebastian called in, and he's always a great call. And, you know, Sebastian's right. You know, look at Sweden. The land of the Nordic men is now a bunch of, they pansy down that country. Sweden has gone pansy down. And, you know, you have these schmucks allowing all these people to be coming in there. But, you know, I noticed Israel doesn't want none of these Middle Eastern Turks and all that coming into Israel, do they?
No, they don't, but they want every other country to take them.
Oh, yeah, they want every other country to take them, but they sure don't want them in Israel. And they sure don't want that Star of David or their monuments being torn down in Israel, Golda Meir and all that. You don't think they allow those statues to be knocked down in Israel, do you? No way. Like I said, we have got to stop this. Like Candace Owens said, Candace Owens is fantastic, Mike. I don't know if you got a chance to look at her last interview, but I know if you go home and watch, you're hearing, I mean, I know you're on, but you'll watch and you go, wow, because she's right on the money. If the blacks will ever get the majority here in this country, you think white people will have federal government jobs or any kind of narrative at all? No way. Look at South Africa. That's a perfect model. Look at Haiti. Look at all of Cuba. I mean, come on, Mike. It's ridiculous. There you go, Zimbabwe. And talk about racism, schmacism. That's what it is here with these black nations. Who's kidding who? And you know what? They have, like I said, they have food here. Look, Mike, they have everything in this country. If they don't like it, go back. Go back to Liberia. Go back to Monrovia. Go back wherever you want to go if you don't hate this country so bad. If the white man's such a bad guy, why do you keep coming here? Why did Obama bring 200,000? Why did he flood Portland, Maine with them? Why is Portland, Maine having 100,000 Somalis over there in Minneapolis, Minnesota? I don't understand it. If the white guy's such a bad thing for the black culture, why are they coming here? Why? No, stay over where you're at. And look, Mike, you know, when Livingston went into Africa, I don't even believe they didn't have parts of Africa. They didn't know what the wheel was until the 1600s.
Yeah.
You ever heard that story? They didn't even know what a wheel was. And that's the truth. So, you know, and then, you know, like I hope Sebastian calls in today because I want to tell him one thing about Fauci. Fauci's fake and phony. Nobody's talking about the 1968 pandemic, which was the Hong Kong flu. It only lasted 1 year. And by 1970, it was over with. And 600,000 people, Dustin, died in the United States from the Hong Kong flu. Nobody's talking about it. We're not even close to 600,000 here. Nobody was wearing masks. Nobody was wearing gloves, face shields. Okay. How did that flu, that Hong Kong flu, come here so quickly and rapidly leave so fast? I don't understand it, Mike. And what happened to it was called the H3N2, the H3N2 Hong Kong pandemic. And I think it was worldwide. I don't know, Mike, was it 4 million that died, 5 million? I don't know what the numbers
Something
were.
like that. Yeah.
But, you know, we all we're hearing is about is you better wear your mask or you better wear your face shield. You better put earplugs in your ear. You better put a spacesuit on. I mean, Mike, when I was a young kid, I remember my mother said something about the Hong Kong flu, but nobody wore masks. Nobody was wearing nothing. It had to run its course. It ran its course, and that was the end of it. It lasted up till I believe late 69 is when that ended. December 69, the Hong Kong flu was basically, you didn't hear nothing about it anymore. I guess back in those days, it was on the paper, the print. You didn't have, you know, the internet and all that. So You know, this whole thing seems like a big crux, a big scam to me, Mike. You know, Fauci, this guy saying, well, you don't need masks. All of a sudden you need masks. Oh, you don't need to close the government down. You got to close the government down. What a hypocrite this guy is. He threw the ball so far left, they almost won in the dugout. Okay? And he's in the stands with no mask. This guy, come on, Dustin. I agree with Mark on that. The mask
Yeah,
thing is
Tom, we got to let you go. Tom, we got to let you go. Got to take a break for commercials. Back with more phone calls after these 2 words.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones here to James in Vancouver. James, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yes, hello. I just wanted to make a correction on the numbers I gave you yesterday. I quoted the molecular weight of quinine to be 342 grams. It actually should be 324 grams per mole.
Okay.
But then actually, that means you got more molecules of quinine in your tonic water. I was able to try the tonic water. It's very good. And I just wanted to make a comment, if I could, on that explosion.
Yes.
If it's a fireworks factory, isn't it kind of strange that they'd be using ammonium nitrate? I thought you'd use black powder for fireworks.
Well, they use all kinds of different chemicals for fireworks. It depends on the briskedness that they're trying to get. I mean, they'll use powdered aluminum, they'll use perchlorates, and of course, all the coloring agents as well. But now, of course, we're hearing that it may have also been a munitions factory. But again, why why locate it in the middle of a populated area?
Is that in Beirut then?
Yes.
Where was it? Was in Beirut. Yeah, then they're probably running the Haber-Bosch process in there then.
Okay.
You will get ammonium nitrate out of the Haber-Bosch process. You start by you mix nitrogen out of the air with hydrogen, and you have to put it under pressure. You get ammonia, and then you mix the ammonia with water. And that gives your NH4 plus NO3 minus, which is your ammonium nitrate. And invented by Franz Haber, perfected by Bosch industrialists. Anyway, I just wanted to correct that molecular weight. Oh, by the way, nobody has given us a molecular weight on this so-called COVID-19, have they?
Yeah, but I think, given the complexities of the virus, I don't know that it would really be all that meaningful.
Oh, but it's just that if you isolate it, then you should get a molecular weight out of it. And I heard the gentleman who came on before you, he claims that nobody has isolated it. So this was my question. If somebody else can, they should know something about the molecular weight of it. That's my only comment.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for the information. We're going to switch over to Terrell in South Carolina. Hello, Terrell. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Terrell, are you there?
Three Gorges.
There we go.
Yes, Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're on the air.
All right. I wanted to open up with about the Three Gorges Dam, and how that it just seems like that would be a.
Hello? Terrell, are you there? We're not hearing you anymore. Carol, are you there? All right, let's switch over to Doc in Illinois. Hello, Doc. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Some people there earlier were calling in talking about Trump's comment with Ghislaine Maxwell. And I had just something to say about that. I really think with Trump, there's no in between at all to like some of the stuff he says. So I really think that something like I wish her well is pretty tame compared to some other kind of stuff he says. But, if I really think that if he had said something more outrageous like that, or like wishing harm upon her, I feel like he could spin it any way to say, oh, well, Trump obviously has some kind of, vendetta against her. Maybe she has something on him. But I think in a way, like, don't we all like wish her well in a way so that she doesn't get, Epstein, as they call it? I mean, I don't condone anything that she's been affiliated with, but, we can all hope that she stands trial,
Absolutely. I'm hoping that she makes a deal and just outs everybody.
Yeah. Well, despite the coin shortage, that right there is my 2 cents. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. And we're going to go back to Terrell in South Carolina, who's connected with us again. So, Terrell, you were talking about the Three Gorges Dam. What's on your mind?
Open up with. However, that was going to be what I wanted to open up with, but I want to address Tom's statement, and not just Tom in general, but the statement of, we gave you guys this, so here. But my thing is this, and I'm not going to pull the whole race card. No, it's just, listen, guys, let's go. What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first? We didn't really ask to come here. It was more of like a, hey, get on this boat, or what are the alternatives? So, hundreds of years later, well, look, we gave you this stuff. Well, that's cool. I appreciate it. Well, let's go back to the initial snatching up.
Okay, Terrell, I got to put you on hold. Terrell, don't hang up. We're going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
After about a month of Extendovite, I don't know what it is about the circulation factor. I was able to increase the weight, increase the amount of sets I could do. It has to do with the oxygen getting to the blood. You should market this as an athletic performance. And I don't change anything about my diet or anything. I just thought, this is amazing. Bilberry extract is got something called resveratrol in it, which is the same stuff that you get from red wine. It's also good for eyesight. And I was reading that the Royal Air Force during World War II would give their pilots bilberry jam so they could have better night vision stuff. This is amazing.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Terrell in South Carolina, and we're talking about the slave trade, apparently. And, you know, I do wish to point out before we get going much further that the people who put your ancestors on those slave ships to come to the New World were other Africans. And so if you have an issue with that having been done, you need to go back to Africa, which you're free to do anytime that you want. Ever since the end of the Civil War, you have the freedom to go back to Africa and punch them right in the nose, or at least their descendants. Now, the reality is you need to take a look at your standard of living here in the United States of America versus the average standard of living for Black people in Africa. And I think you will agree that things are a lot better off here than they are in Africa overall. Would you agree with that part?
I would definitely agree, 100%.
Okay, good.
The return ticket, though, the return ticket. So you have generations now, and yes, I'm not. The black man did, the white man did it. It was done, and we're here. That's my thing. Like I got it. Like it's. I don't. There's no.
You can go home. Go home. If you don't like it here, go back to Africa.
If it was 5 years ago, Mike, I'd go home, but it was more like 500. So there is no quote unquote go back home necessarily. Home is America.
Okay, then what is it that you want?
Well, no, I don't want anything. I want people to stop talking about reparations and slavery like it's brand new, like it's done. That's an old fight. Like, I mean, these guys. I mean, it's getting blown up beyond belief. And when I talk to people about it, I get the same response: go back to Africa. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just home. I'm not saying you should give me money for being black. I'm not saying I should give you money for being white. We are here. It's 2020.
Okay.
Still talking about skin color? It boggles my mind. You know, many deep thought organizations and many deep thought circles that I'm a part of, just I don't understand. We don't really talk about race much because it's so irrelevant. It's ridiculous. And because if you're not, you don't do your own research, you'd end up, you know, BLM, Antifa, white supremacists. You'd be all over the place. But this is nothing to do with the black and the white and the Spanish and the black and the blacks and the blacks and the whites. Like, dude, give me a break. Seriously, I fought by people of all skin colors. And I tell you what, I will choose blank over blank. And what's the blank? Insert a skin color. I mean, give me a break. So that's all. Back to the Three Gorges Dam, though. When I saw a documentary on Al Jazeera about it, they weren't glorifying the destruction, but they were saying how just sensitive and how I mean, it's gonna fall apart. Like it's inevitable. And now I'm looking at how I haven't heard anything about this. Now I've heard, you know, little snippets here and there on the mainstream media, but no one's really talking about, you know, the aftermath of, you know, what if. But it would give us something else to think about besides Donnie being black and Susie being white.
Okay. Well, I know that if the Three Gorges Dam lets go, it's gonna reach all the way to Shanghai.
And in the past, there are a bunch of nuclear facilities and all this and all that have not. I mean,
there's Wuhan
systems and Wuhan, yeah. So we're talking like SCADA systems and PLCs. I mean, you're looking at the 0 day all over again with the Stuxnet and all that, messing around with the machinery. And it sounds practical. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, thank you for the phone call. We're going to let you go here. And before we take another phone call, I have one more comment I want to make about reparations here. Because I view the people who are out there offering reparations as simply attempting to buy the black population all over again. Vote for us, we'll give you money. They're trying to turn you back into chattel. So just think about that a little bit. And ultimately, the whole idea is unworkable. It can't be done. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to use the example of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Heming. Now, Thomas Jefferson and Sally Heming had children. Their descendants are alive today. Now, are they owed reparations because they're the descendants of a slave? Or do they owe reparations because they're descendant of a slave owner? And you can see what a mess it is to try and sort this all out. It's just politics. They want to buy your votes with a promise that they're going to take money away from this group and give it to you. They're buying you. And I think if there's one segment of our population that would be very sensitive about the issue of being bought and sold, it would be the black population. All right, we're going to go back to the phones here to, let's see, we already talked with Doc in Illinois. Miles in Maine. Hello, Miles. Thank you for calling back in. What's on your mind?
Michael. I enjoyed that call from Terrell. That was an interesting call. But, I wanted to warn Tom and all his wisdom. Tom's a great guy. He's a sharp guy. He's full of facts, statistics. Calling the kettle black, Tom. You better call it black with a capital B or African American or something.
It's got nothing to do with race. It has to do with the fact that back when this phrase came into usage, kitchen utensils were made out of iron, and iron was black. So they were all equally black, and it had nothing to do with race. It had to do with metallurgy.
That was a joke, Michael, because of what they were saying about black has to be written in the papers now with a capital B at the New York Times, I believe.
Yeah, but they're also going to capitalize white now.
No. Well, that's not, now that's some equality, I'll say.
Yes.
But, you know, I kind of, wanted to reflect on what Mark said about, because I didn't quite get it about how Trump's for the pharmaceuticals, yet Trump was the one who said, oh, hydroxychloroquine will take care of this. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars in these treatments and vaccines and all this stuff. So I'm not quite sure where Mark was coming off with that, how Trump is for the pharmaceutical companies so much.
Okay, Miles, can you maybe talk a little closer to the microphone on your phone, because we're having trouble hearing you?
Oh, all righty. What I was saying is I'm not really sure where Mark was coming from on that. I got lost with what he was saying about Trump being for the pharmaceuticals when Trump was the one who, advocated for hydroxychloroquine, which is pennies a dollar compared to the medical treatments they're suggesting, and of course the vaccine.
Okay, we're having some phone issues here. All right, Miles, I'm going to have to let you go because we're having a tremendous amount of difficulty hearing you, and we're going to go to Sean on the West Coast. Hello, Sean. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm calling about the tactical nuke that just went off in Lebanon. That was fired from a Dolphin submarine with a torpedo that has nukes on it. You can
Yeah.
Look at the pictures yourself, and you make the determination. And my other comment is, I'll take a bullet before I take any kind of vaccines or any kind of nanoparticles given by Bill Gates. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye, and we're going to switch over to Paul in Phoenix. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're on the air.
All right, great. I just wanted to call and address the caller yesterday. That I think his name was Dave, who said he saved up $1,000 a week and had $10,000 in his bank account.
Yes.
Food stamps. Yeah, that really kind of irked me as well. I was a product of this whole pandemic. Got laid off on April 30th. Had to start collecting the benefits. And I'll be honest, I was making on average just a little bit more than I was at my job. And I was in financing capital equipment. And that $840 a week, I'll tell you right now, I have just about $600 in my bank account, and my rent's due on the 15th. So I had to use that money, every dime of it, for my living expenses and my budget. So just kind of, hopefully, if he ever hears this or he's listening, that's bullcrap. And not too sure, how he was surviving or who he lives with. Those are some questions I would have wanted to ask him. Like, What, do you just live with your mom? It doesn't make any sense. So other than that, primary day in Phoenix, I'm going to go down to the polls, I think, just to, I could have done the mail-in voting, but I really support the fact that I think everybody should have to go out there and push that button if you're physically able to do so. So I'm going to get out there today. And other than that, Mike, thanks for your time and enjoy your show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. The phone lines are open now, 800-313-9443. And Dave seemed to come across with this idea that the federal government is a bank, that all the money that you give to them, you should somehow get back. Well, you need to understand that that money, in theory, at least, is spent on things like infrastructure, roads, sewage lines, water mains, things that you use every single day. That's where the money goes, along with, unfortunately, free stuff for the illegal immigrants, which I don't like, and wars, which I like even less. We're going to go back to the phones here to Steve Elkins. Steve, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I just found some information here. I'll send over to your email, and I'm going to send it to post on the website, the RBN website. But I just wanted to share this with you here. The article title is called Storing Medical Information Below the Skin Surface. MIT engineers have developed a way to store medical information under the skin using a quantum dot dye that is delivered along with a vaccine by a microneedle patch. The dye, which is invisible to the naked eye, can be read later using a special adapted smartphone. I'm going to send that over to you. Let you read that a little bit. But, technology like this has been developed, is going to be used. And if you read the article, it'll talk about, first, it's always trying to convince you that it's one of those things that's going to improve your life, that your vaccination record will be on this patch under your skin. And they can simply scan it and say, well, you're due some vaccines, or you're not up on schedule here. So I'm going to send it over to you, let you look at it, and you may want to put it on your website.
Well, I'll tell you, the part that really makes it very scary is how they're pushing to make vaccines mandatory. And if I think there's an inalienable right, it is a right to our own body and to decide what goes in it, more importantly, what doesn't go in it. And especially when you consider some of the major accidents that have happened with vaccines in the past, and the fact that vaccine companies are held harmless and indemnified for mistakes they're making today, it's a recipe for disaster. And I absolutely do not want to be having a needle stuck in my arm unless I know exactly what's in it and what it's going to do and what harm it's going to do. And this idea that we have our vaccine record on our bodies, I mean, shades of the Borg. I mean, what are they going to do now? Not let you in to do your job if your vaccine record isn't up to snuff?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. I just want to get that out there because this technology is going to be pushed out there, and again, they're going to sell it as a convenience. You don't have to bring your shot records anymore. We can scan it. We know what you need. This technology is it's like 1984 here stuff. This is bad stuff, but and I assume since they've created it, they are going to use this in the future. So I just want your listeners to understand this. I'll send it over to you if you want to put it on your website.
Absolutely. I will put it on my website. Thank you for the phone call. Before we take another phone call, though, I'm looking at an email somebody just sent me. If your current caller, Peril or Terrell, couldn't hear it clearly, has problems with those black people in the past who experienced slavery, allow me to suggest the problem is the African tribes that fought with other African tribes, captured members of those tribes, and then sold them as slaves at slave markets. By the way, it would appear that there are a good number of people still unaware that Alex Haley's book, Roots, and the television series made from it were lies. This was admitted in court. Haley admitted that he'd plagiarized it from a book he'd read 20 years before he wrote it, titled Slave. Okay, so let's go back to the phones here to Don in Arizona. Hello, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, Mike, they showed the body cam footage of the George Floyd episode there with the cop.
Yeah.
And, have you seen it?
I saw part of it, but it ran for like
was
about 8
leaked by-
minutes. He was resisting arrest.
It was leaked by the Daily Mail, British, I guess, paper. The guy was definitely resisting, and he admitted that he had hoofed, what they call hoofing fentanyl, and he was having trouble breathing before he sat down. But the cop was trying to deal with him as courteously as he could, and he couldn't understand. He asked his girlfriend, "What's wrong with this guy?" And she says he's got issues, but he admitted that he had been hoofing fentanyl, and when they did the autopsy, he had almost a fatal amount of fentanyl in his system, and that's a drug that's used by doctors to shut down the respiratory system. So it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be hard for them to charge this cop with murder. If you look at it, and the cop was trying to get him to sit in the car after they had the handcuffs. He kept trying. And this George Floyd kept saying he was claustrophobic. He didn't want to sit in the car. He wanted to lay down. He begged him to let him lay down on the ground. So it wasn't like the cops were manhandling this guy. And also, there was another black man that was sitting next to George Floyd in the car, and he was not on drugs. Right? George Floyd, I guess, was giving him a ride or something like that. And he complied with the cops. The cops asked him to show the ID, and okay, he showed his ID, and there was no problem with him. So this whole thing is just totally false narrative that racism caused this guy to get killed. And another thing about him, he's a very strong, muscular guy, a big guy, resisting. He would not do what the cop told him to do. You have to do that. Show your hands. If you just do what the cop tells you to do, you're not going to get in trouble. Put your hands on your head. He won't do that. And he kept it. The problem was really the same with this guy in Georgia that got shot. Remember him? There was another one that got shot because he knew he was gonna be heading back to prison. He was on parole. George Floyd had a long rap sheet. He got caught passing a counterfeit 20, and that's a serious crime, I believe, isn't it? You can't just pass fake counterfeit bills.
No, you can't. That's a very serious crime. That's what the Secret Service was originally started to do, was to find counterfeiters and protect the Treasury. Anyway, listen, we're coming up here on a commercial break. And this thing about George Floyd, I mean, I'm sorry that he got killed, but look how many people have died since then in this aftermath of, Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Anyway, thank you for the phone call. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to try and fit in some more calls at the last segment of our program. We'll be right back.
Are you concerned about the quality of your drinking water? If yes, we want to introduce you to the new ProPure stainless steel water purification system. ProPure systems available in 2 sizes are economical, convenient, easy to use, and provide reliable water purification just about anywhere. ProPure systems come with the latest water filter technology. The Pro Black D domed water filter elements are the result of years of research, design, and development, and are good up to 3,000 gallons each before replacement. Easy to clean, trouble-free. The Pro Black D water filter elements may be the best yet. Concerned about fluoride in your water? ProPure offers add-on fluoride filters. ProPure water purification systems. Easy to assemble and are backed with free technical support and a 2-year warranty.
Our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719 extension 3. 800-724-2719 extension 3.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet, also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the Red Pill.
When all this twisted steel was swept away. Did these remaining holes reveal what really happened?
Welcome back to our show. Last segment of our program today. Let's go right to the phones to Ken in New York. Hello, Ken. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
About the caller that said I'd rather take a bullet. I wouldn't be so hard on myself. I'd rather somebody else take the bullet.
Fair enough.
Now, number two, if you want to go after the money as it pertains to reparations, why not go after those people that provided the accommodation, the transport, and the service for vending them off to their masters? Those people that have been identified today can trace their ancestry back and probably have the same bank account still or bank with the same houses. Go after them.
Yes.
And the third thing and the last thing is, yeah, we got a really great Secret Service. For 107 years, they've been looking for the counterfeiters when they're under their nose all along.
Yes. Absolutely.
Good night.
Yeah, but those are the legal counterfeiters. They're allowed to counterfeit. What their Secret Service is looking for are the ones that are not allowed to counterfeit.
Oh, I didn't know. I missed the distinction. I apologize.
All right. Well, listen, thanks an
Good night.
awful lot. We're going to let you go, and we're going to try and fit Dan in Colorado in. Dan, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Yeah, you know that guy that called in? He called in yesterday, and he was talking about all the money he was getting.
Yeah.
From the, you know, that guy has been calling you since you were in Hawaii. Remember, he would comment on your sword.
Oh,
That's
yes.
the same guy.
Same guy.
Yeah,
the sword's in the other room now. So.
Yeah, he just tries to antagonize you every time he calls. I can't stand listening to him. And I don't know why he has to call and pick on this show. I don't know what his motivations are, but it really irritates me to have him pick on you.
Well, it's not that he was picking on me per se. It's just that he was putting out an image of people who are getting the unemployment insurance and the stimulus, the COVID emergency stimulus, and he was trying to basically cast them in a very unsympathetic light. And that's why I think he was definitely some kind of a shill.
And that's what he was doing. He was trying to antagonize everybody out there. He knew what he was doing.
Yes.
And he uses different names every time he calls, practically.
Yes.
So, and then the thing with Ryan Dawson.
Yes.
You know, the kid that got kicked off the air. You know, I really like him. He's pretty good, and he got kind of suckered into whatever happened the other day. Really, you know, he lost his cool.
I'm hoping Ryan will be back at some point in the future, you know, and things will calm down. Anyway, there's the music. I got to let you go. We're at the end of the program. Please stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. And we'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.